Hi folks, I'm the Tech Thinker. Welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and thumbs up. Today I want to talk about an important concept in Java, which is encapsulation. What does it mean? Well, it means that data can be encapsulated, can be wrapped, so that we can protect them from, let's say, other classes. So we don't want that some classes have access to some methods or some variables. Okay, how can we achieve this encapsulation? Well, we achieve that by using the so-called access modifiers. Okay, which are public, private, protected, and default. But I want to show you that in a practical way. So let's create a class. So, and let's call that class Ferrari, just an auto car name. Sorry, I think I created in the wrong package. I just put it here. So now, okay, and let's just create some I don't know, int tires. It's just a car and string name. It's not that important. Okay, so and now I want to create another class. I call this class let's say auto builder. It's not that important, with a public static void method inside. Okay, so now I want just to create a Ferrari auto. Okay, so Ferrari, I called it Ferrari equal to new Ferrari. That's it. So and I want to have access to this object. So I use Ferrari, then dot, and you can see here I have access to name and tires. Okay, which means that I have access to the variables. But actually this is not a good way to program in Java. We don't want to create to have access to the variables. We want to have access to methods, and through these methods have access to these variables. Okay, and this is pretty much what we did with getters and setters. We created the getters and setters so that we can just have access and manipulate our variables. So let's create in Ferrari here the getters and setters. Okay, I do that in a fast way. So generate getters and setters and select all, generate, and that's it. Now we have getters and setters. Okay, so I want to save here and I go here back. So now let me rewrite it. Ferrari dot. Now I have some get name, for example, and get tires, which are methods. So I can say, for example, use this here, tires. I can print this value. And that's it. So here I want to give some values. So let's say this is 4 because it's a car. Okay. So and that's it. Now, if I run this this program here, I will have the value 4, which is right. But actually, I can also do that. I can do Ferrari and have access to the variable. I have also a 4. Okay, this second way to do that, it's not the best way to do that. We don't want that everywhere classes have access to our variables and change, for example, these variables. We don't want to create a direct access to that. Okay, in order to do that, we use some modifiers. Okay, for example, the word here public, this is a modifier. What does it mean? Well, it means that I can see this method set tires, also this method get tires or get name, which is also public, or set name. So I can see this method also in other classes. And that's why here I can, the method get tires is not hidden. So I can use it, okay? For example, if I change it and here, and I write here private, I save it, I will get an error here. And you can see here, the method get tires from the tire Ferrari is not visible. Okay, why? Well, because I set it as private. So at the moment, we have public, which means everywhere. So we can see this methods or this variable everywhere. Then we have private. Private, it means that we can only use these variables or this method inside the class itself. So in this case here, okay. For example, I can create let me create a method I call public void. It's okay, just a test. I call that test, and I can actually get tires. I can call the method get tires. And this is okay. Why I can do that? Well, I can do that because I set this as because it is inside this class, even if it's set as private. Okay. So now there is other way to do that. Other modifiers. For example, there is the modifier default. In default, actually, it means that you can use the variable of the method, actually the variable in this case, everywhere inside the package. Okay, let's take a look here. In this case, this is default here. This int tires is default. The string name is default. When something is default, you don't have to write it before. Okay, you don't have to write it before. So it means that I can use these variables in other classes inside this object, inside this package. Okay. If I create a new class in another package, just as a test, okay. And I call this class just test, okay. I also created a publish the void method. Okay, so and now I want to have access to Ferrari. I create a new object equal new Ferrari. And I have here import Ferrari. Of course, I import Ferrari. Okay, and now Ferrari. So, and now you can see I don't have access to these variables. I have access to get name, or I have access to should also have access to set tires and set name. Here, yeah, we are set tires and set name, but not to the variables. Well, why? Well, this is because this variable here set as default, and default it means, like I said, only inside the package. Okay. We have a third case, and this case is the case of protected. What does it mean? Well, it means it's something between public and default. I can create classes, objects, and have access to this to the variables also outside the package, but only in classes who inherit some objects. Okay, only in subclasses. Okay, so let's do that. If let's say here in test, I write here extends Ferrari. Okay, and I just will use that. Now, if I create here an object called test object called test new test, I'm using in these cases also in Ferrari case always the standard constructor. Okay, so and if I want to use some things inside, I have here the methods. Okay, so let's change here Ferrari. Let's change for example this one to let's change this one to protected. Okay, so if I go in and save it, and if I go in test, I have now the variables tires. Why? Well, it is because I set tires as protected. As you can see, I don't have the variable string. I cannot see that because string is not set as protected. If I type string, I don't have string. I only have the method to string, which is not what we want. Okay, nice. This is pretty much the same with methods. Now, what is actually the standard way to use to have access to variables and so on? Well, the standard way is to create variables which are private. So we don't want that other classes have access in general to the data itself, only to the method. Okay, so always, this is a good way to program, always use private for your variables and then just give access to these variables through method, through this method here and the modifier of the methods. Okay, this is the right way to program in Java. I want to show you also the function of the keyword static. Well, what does it mean? You can see here public static void main. Well, it means that we can have access to this method without creating an object. So we said that every time that we create a class, we can create through a constructor, and you can write a new constructor, or you can use the standard constructor, but you can create object using constructors. Okay, so you can and then you can use the wall methods and variables in this class using the constructor. Okay, creating the object. But sometimes actually you don't want to create an object, you just want to have access to these methods or to variables without creating an object. Okay, and this is the function of the word static. Okay, I want to just make an example. So I created here the object Ferrari. Okay, and then here I have the method get name. Okay, I cannot get name, and that's it. Okay, I cannot have access to this method in other way. So this is the class. So I want to go in the class Ferrari, okay, and I want to use some methods in there. I cannot. There is not a list of that. Okay, I can change it if I use the word static. So I want to just create now a new method. I called it public static void test static. Very simple. And just I want just to print something like I am a Ferrari car. Okay. So now, if I go to the class and try to have access to the class, I have this method, test static, without having to create the object Ferrari, an object Ferrari. Okay, I created here an object Ferrari. Of course, I have access to the method test static also inside an object. Okay, so I created the object Ferrari, and then I have access to this method. But I can have access to this method also without creating an object, and just go inside the class itself and create and have access to the method. If I print the value, I will have here two results. I am a Ferrari car and I am a Ferrari car, which is actually right. You can do the same with, of course, variables. Let's change this variable public in public and then static. Okay, so, and I save it. So now I can, of course, have access to tires without creating an object. Well, why? Well, because of course, let's say, of course, Ferrari is a car, so every car has 4 tires. So we don't need to have. I'm making an error. You don't need to create an object in order to. So now I can have access to the variable tires. Ferrari tires. And that's it. If I print, I have the result 4, which is right. Okay. It is of course pretty much the same if I just write here Ferrari, which is the object that I created, and tires. And if I run it, I have the same result. Okay. Don't forget, I can now use this solution because I set this variable as public. Okay. But this is not the right way to do the thing. So it should stay private. Okay. So that's it. Thank you very much and see you in the next video. Bye.